to the pivot, Anthony Mackie, home team, man. Thank you so much. This is Channing Crowder. This is Fred Taylor.
Thank y'all for making it happen today, man.
Man, no, thank you, man. Ryan Clark, Pivot fam, thank you for pivoting with us. Man, this is exciting for me. I remember years ago, man, we were on the same flight from here to LA.
Right.
Got an opportunity to talk, chop it up. So get an opportunity to do this. It's huge. Two boys from the 504.
That's it.
That ain't done too bad.
Right. Well, 100%.
That ain't
Especially
done
making it out of here at that time.
Yeah.
Because at that time, it was completely, it wasn't all this. Like, you go to the parades to get shot. You didn't go to catch bees. So it was, it was just a different time, a different day and age, man. And to see it now, what the city has become, what the city's doing, the lack of economical thriving. But if you look at it, we had Super Bowl, we had Mardi Gras, we had the holidays back to back to back. So now everybody got a little money. So now the city's just bustling, but come April, everybody gonna be like, damn, this still New Orleans. Yep. Then they go back to robbing. Somebody gonna be in your house.
I'm from the West Bank, right?
Right.
And so
I forgive you for that.
I know. Hey, I'm imperfect.
Right.
But when we were growing up, bro, if you heard somebody went to Noka, it's like, oh, that kid's different.
Right.
Right? That kid was gifted
right.
or special or understood the arts in the way the rest of us that was just trying to play football ain't know.
Right.
Tell me how you take a kid from the 7th Ward, though, bro, and he adjusts and adapts to Juilliard.
It was the process, dude. Like it used to be, the schools here had programs for kids. So you could learn arts, you could learn math, you can learn science, you can learn music at the school. So in 3rd grade, they wanted to put me on Ritalin. And my mom was like, y'all ain't putting my baby on them gateway drugs. I didn't know what a gateway, I didn't know what it, I was like, I don't want to do drugs, right? Because this was the time of DARE and like all that shit, like coming out of Reaganomics. And I was like, Mama, I don't want to be a drug addict, right? So this lady, Sandra Anderson Richards, she was a teacher here in New Orleans, and I auditioned for the Talent in Theater program because she asked me to. And, we had a meeting with the principal, and our principal was so racist, dude. This is the most racist woman I've ever met in my life. And she wanted to put me in special ed and put me on Ritalin, like just put me in a corner. And Miss Richards was like, no, his grades are good. He's just distracted and he's bored. Like, we need to focus in. We need to find a way to teach him in a creative way. So I auditioned for this program, got in. So every day after school, I would go with her and do theater and all this other shit that was so cool that I would sit in class, do all my work, and I'm like, yo, I'm ready to go, because if I don't finish my work, I can't go to theater. So she really became a disciplinarian for me all the way up until 9th grade, right? And then in 9th grade, we do a speech and debate competition at 35, and I won doing Sunday Morning Prophecy by Langston Hughes. And I met this woman named Linda Cook. Linda Cook was like, you should audition for Noka. Matter of fact, I'm gonna make you audition for Noka. And I was like, oh shit, okay. Never heard of Noka, never knew anything about it. Went up to Noka, right up here. Now I'm from, Gentilly, I'm from the other side of the city. So Noka was all the way up here in the hook of the river. So my mom put me in a car, and this is the white side of town, so you don't go up there. They don't want you in their neighborhoods. So my mom's like, I don't know if you're gonna be able to come up here every day. I was like, it'll be good. So we go up to Noka, audition. I couldn't find my way out of Uptown. So I walked. It was about 7 miles, but by the time I got home, it was like 9 o'clock. And my mom was like, yo, dumbass, why you didn't take the bus? I was like, I didn't know how to take the bus. I didn't know where I was at, right? So I made it all the way home, found out the next week that I got into Noka. And the crazy thing about Noka was, as weird or as obtuse as those kids were, it was the first place I felt like I belonged. It was the first time I was sitting around like black kids who come from diverse backgrounds, white kids who come from money, who live uptown. There was this white kid in my class, his summer between junior year and senior year, he backpacked across Europe. I'm like, so you just took a bag of clothes and walked across Europe? He's like, yeah, my parents wanted me to experience my cultural significance and my history. What? So hearing this shit, like, it just really opened my mind to like outside of New Orleans and not wanting to be here. Summer between my sophomore year and my junior year, I auditioned for North Carolina School of the Arts, got in and went for the summer session. And that's where it clicked. Once I got there and I saw kids who were doing it professionally, making money, like thriving, I was like, oh, this is an artist community. Like, I'm not weird here, this is the norm. Right. You know what I mean? So once that started, it really became a thing of like me figuring out where I fit in. So I graduated summer school, came back here for my junior year. Then I was like, yo, I'm out. Went to North Carolina for my senior year. Finished high school there.
Gotcha.
Because then I'm a fucking straight A student. Like so much so, like, you know, I'm in college. That's literally the University of North Carolina is where I finished high school. And that was because I had great teachers. Like my teachers at NOCA were amazing. And they displaced the idea of, you know, white people for me. Because for me, white people ain't like black people. Because these white people ain't like black people. Like New Orleans stop at Canal Street and start up at Covington.
Yeah.
There's nothing in between. They don't go to Gentilly. They don't go to the East. They don't go to the Ninth Ward. They don't do that. So you have two different cities, you know?
Oh, I know.
So once they dispelled the idea of all white people being racist, the sky was the limit.
Big dog, you being a prodigy, like you having that, whatever it was, got you out of it. Like you saying, now you got to sneak into those other places. You got to,
Right.
you got to be comfortable in those platforms and all.
Right.
You went to Juilliard and all. Like, that's something that a dude from New Orleans doesn't do.
Well, you know, it's funny because, like, we have a pretty substantial amount of kids who went to Juilliard. Like, you think Wendell Pierce, Wynton Marsalis, Irvin Mayfield, basically all the Marsaluses. You know, you have Harry Connick, you have all these people from here, but they were musicians.
Yep.
Like, you know, but you look at all the actors that came out of New Orleans. I mean, Carl Weathers is from the Ninth Ward. You know what I mean? Like when I saw Action Jackson, I was like, that dude from New Orleans. You know what I mean? It's like there was so much, one of the greatest inspirations in my life. I was 13 years old. Wendell Pierce came to my high school, and I'll never do. He pulled up in a black Porsche. I was like, yo, my first time seeing a car that wasn't like a Buick. Right. He get out in an all-white linen suit with a white linen hat. I was like, this motherfucker's rich, right? He come in school, and I had never seen a black dude look cool like that. And he started telling us about his experience going to Juilliard, moving to New York, this and that. I went up to him at 13. I was like, I'm gonna do exactly what you did. He was like, all right, young man, good luck. I was like, yeah, you gonna see. So every step of the way since I was 13 years old, I was on Wendell Pierce's heels. Always. I would always read about him. I was always, because we both from Gentilly. I would always talk to him. I would always hear from him. And then the first day I got to New York, I'm sitting drinking a beer with my brother, and Wynton Marsalis walks by. So I'm like, yo, Wynton, I'm a homeboy. I'm from the boot. And he's like, oh, young, here go my number. Anything you need, call me. I'm like, oh, shit. So I had the two biggest dudes from the city, on my back. You know what I mean? And then I get to school, and Irvin Mayfield was there. So I'm like, yo, Irv, bro, you at Juilliard? He's like, yeah, I don't know how long I'm gonna be doing this shit, though. I'm like, damn, boy, you are famous. You know what I mean? Like, you so talented, you like, nah, they ain't got nothing for me at this school. And literally the next year he left and became one of the biggest musicians in the world. So it's like, there's so much culture and art in this city. Like I always laugh, people always ask me why I live in New Orleans. I'm like, because New Orleans is the only place you can be sitting on your couch and hear a dude walking down the street practicing their trombone. Wow. No other city in the world you hear a dude walking down the street like, that C flat ain't working.
You talking about at your age, walking up to them famous dudes and really asking them questions, really getting their number. That's not normal. A lot of people will be intimidated by that.
Oh, no. It was more of a thing of awe, more of a thing of appreciation, especially when it came to Wynton and Wendell. Like, those are people who, there's a certain club, I say, there's a certain distinction. Like, when you meet somebody and it's like, yo, I just graduated from North Carolina School of the Arts. They're like, oh, you're not bullshitting. What you doing in New York? Well, I go to Juilliard. Oh, you not bullshitting. You know what I mean? Now, if you just here fucking around say, I want to be an actor and you're in a Popeyes commercial, that's different. You know? You know what I mean?
Now you like every hostess in New York.
Exactly, exactly. So it's different, dude. Once they see you ain't bullshitting and you're really focusing on your craft. Like I was playing basketball with Wynton Marsalis. Bad jump shot, like just, for some reason, a great basketball player, right? And this he was like, look, to be is to study. He was like, you here studying Shakespeare, Ibsen, Chekhov. He was like, all them motherfuckers know is their neighborhood. So they can play one role really well, because that's all they got in their catalog. You know what I mean? It's like if you're a football player, you got speed, but you don't know how to use your hands. You don't know how to tackle. But you fast as fuck.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Right. It's like, you need an arsenal of things, especially as a black dude. You got to be able to do everything. So when that call comes, you can hang with whoever you need to hang with, you know? Yeah. So when Wendell gave me that knowledge, because it was just like knowing him, like this dude is the best jazz musician in the world, but also can come down here and do like a street second line. You know what I mean? But also can play, like one of my favorite songs is the Carnival de Venice. This dude played a song with an orchestra that was written for 2 trumpets.
By itself.
By itself.
Yep.
So if you can do that, who's gonna tell you what you can't do?
You're so dynamic and multifaceted, right? You go from Papa Doc, Clarence, live at home with his parents and all that good shit.
He went to Clarebrook. That's a private school.
That's right.
Hey, and I'll tell you this, Google Cranbrook. That shit is not a school. Bro, I took a drive past, because that wasn't in the movie.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, we're doing the movie, and, you know, Eminem is just such a brilliant dude. We're on set one day, and he's like, yo, it don't make sense that we beefing. I was like, right? He was like, I need something, like, on you. So we're talking. We talked for, like, 2 hours, like, chilling. I'm like, all right, man, I'll see you later. I go to the casino. The next day, we're shooting a battle scene. And that's why I'm standing there like, you're talking about me. You're not talking about Clarence. This has nothing to do with the character. You're an asshole, Eminem.
Hey, was that why you holding him out like this?
Right. I'm like, I won't fight this motherfucker. I'm like, yes, my parents are still married.
See, but that's the craziest thing, because you got entertainment, right? And then you got the art of storytelling, and he's just simply amazing. But for you to play that character, obviously to play Tupac, the Hurt Locker, you're dancing, and now you're Captain America.
Right.
Like, you got real superpowers. We grew up on superheroes. Like, we don't see like a black superhero. Mm-hmm. Like, did it actually hit you that you are really Captain America? Like, that's crazy, bro.
Me and my boy was having this conversation yesterday, and it's been weighing on my mind and my heart, because it hasn't.
It's crazy.
And I'm not sure why. Like, I don't know what it is. Like, the idea of walking down the street by myself isn't something that's become an oddity or an idea of something I shouldn't or can't do anymore. The idea of coming to my favorite restaurant isn't an idea of something I can't or shouldn't do anymore. I've been in the business 24 years, right? And I've seen people go from nothing to the biggest stars in the world. I've seen people go from one role to winning Academy Awards and doing all this shit. And what I realized yesterday thinking about it, we're lying to our kids, dog. And I think that's a big problem in our community. We tell our kids that and this is fresh on my heart, like I literally just came to this conclusion last night. We tell our kids if they do right and they make the good grades and they go to the programs and they will become successful. If you work hard enough, your work will be paid off. And that's not true. Success is given. It's not earned. Because you can be the most brilliant motherfucker. If one person don't tap you, each one of y'all, there were people who could hit harder, who could catch better, who could run faster, but somebody said, you're the one. And the other 50 behind you fell off. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And because of that, I don't know what that emotion or that feeling is the scary thing. Because I went to all the programs. I've done Broadway, I've done off-Broadway. I've been in the business 24 years. I've been in 2 Academy Award films. I've done independent films. I've done major motion pictures. Now I'm Captain America. So now what? I should be the lead of the next Spike Lee movie. So I should be starring opposite Denzel. Because that's what happened with everybody else.
So to that thought process, why are you the one? It's the craziest thing, man. He brought up Tupac. I don't think you did a great job of being Tupac.
That's fair.
I tell you, because you were younger, it was years ago.
That's fair.
So why are you the one, even speaking on that, why are you the one that, I don't know, chosen to be that dude, but bruh, you that dude?
Diligence. Prime example, when I went up to New York to audition for Juilliard, it was a consortium audition. So it was like 100 schools in New York just auditioning kids who want to go to school for theater. They told you prepare 2 monologues, a contemporary, a classical, a comedic, and a serious monologue, and a 2-minute clip of a song. So to me, I prepare 15 monologues and 4 songs.
Dang.
Wow.
So when I walk into my audition, I'm ready. You know what I mean? So everybody else do their 2 monologues, and they're like, oh, that didn't go well. They asked me if I had something else, and I was like, no. And my goal, my realization, my teacher told me, always get them to ask you more. Because once they start asking you, that means they're interested. Once they start talking to you, they didn't say goodbye, have a good day. Every audition I've been in, I do the audition, that's when it's like, where you from? What you doing? Now I know you're interested.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like my 8 Mile audition. Dude, I never even read for the director. I went into the room, I had my sides, I was ready. It was Curtis Hanson, God rest his soul. Molly Finn was the casting director, God rest her soul. And I had done nothing. She saw me in a play about Tupac called Up Against the Wind off Broadway, which Tupac's mother and sister came to and loved.
I still don't like how you play Pop.
So I do the play. Molly Finn sees the play. She's like, I want you to come in and audition for Curtis for this movie that we're doing. I'm like, bet. So I go in, like 2 weeks later, audition. So Curtis Hanson had just released a movie called Wonder Boys with Tobey Maguire, right? And I was a Tobey Maguire fan at the time. So I walk in, I'm like, yo, Kurt, I just need to ask you a question, bro. I'm like, Wonder Boys was like an ode to Hitchcock. He's like, what do you mean? I said, the moving formats in the background, the thought process of the character being emulated in the scene and the movements behind him. I'm like, was that a conscious decision? And he looks at me, he's like, stop the camera. Who told you that? I was like, nobody, I just see it. Like when I watch a Hitchcock movie, when I watch Lambs of the Slaughter, every time a certain woman is on screen, you have birds of prey. Other women, you have doves and like pheasants or fowls. So one of them is the aggressor, one of them is the prey, you know what I mean? So we go back and forth, and we talk for like 45 minutes about this movie and about Hitchcock. 2 weeks later, I get a call, and it's Curtis. He goes, yo, Mekhi Phifer decided to do the movie, so he's gonna be in that role, but there's a smaller role. I said, I'm in. He's like, but you have to, I'm in. I'm like, I get to hang with you on set? I'm in. So every day on set, I'm next to Curtis Hanson. Every day on set, he's coming to me, showing me a shot list, showing me all the stuff, because now we have that connection. Now I got him talking. So a lot of people don't know Papa Doc was three scenes and 4 lines. I was supposed to be there a week. After that week, he would say, you have something else to do? I was like, nah. He made a Schedule F, run a picture, and he added all those scenes for that character.
Really?
Yeah.
That
was never in the script.
I love listening to you talk because you like all my homeboys.
Yeah.
Right? Like we just all the same.
Right.
And I listened to what you said though about we are doing our kids a disservice. We're lying to our kids. Mm-hmm. Right? I would always say that people are lying to their kids when they tell them they can be whatever they want to be. Because you actually can't be whatever you want to be. Right. Some things you don't have the potential to be.
Absolutely.
Right? And the thing that I got a lot growing up was you have to be twice as good. You have to be twice as smart. You have to work twice as hard. You have to know twice as much. That was your life.
Right.
Right? You were, I was at Easton, but I'm going to go to Noka. I was at Noka, but I'm going to go to North Carolina. I'm in North Carolina, now I'm going to go to Juilliard. You did all of those things.
Right.
But there's still a proving ground for you that's going to be a different proving ground for someone of a different skin color that would have done the exact same things that you've done. But then you are now Captain America. What's more difficult? Convincing people that you are the correct replacement for one of Marvel Universe's truly just standout franchise faces, Chris Evans, or convincing the world that Captain America can be black?
I don't think it's a question of convincing people or convincing the world. My biggest hurdle was convincing myself. When you're given a huge opportunity like that, you have to take into consideration the possibility that you might fail. You might get out there and lay an egg. So for me, I knew if I got the role, if they decide, because I never thought they was gonna give me Captain America. We had a perfectly good Captain America in the role doing a great job. Like, you know what I mean? So why me? You know, and that was one of the hardest parts. I never saw it happening, so when it happened, I was in shock. But then I got afraid. So then I had to lean on those teachers and those people around me who got me to that point. It was hard because I never figured out, and I still haven't figured out, what is there to convince people of. And that's why I say we're doing our kids a disservice. Like, I went to all those programs. I did all those movies. Everybody knows my resume. So who the fuck are you to question if I can do this? If you go to a hospital and a doctor has 100 successful surgeries and you're going in for that surgery, what you gonna say? I don't know if you can do this one, bro. You might, your hand looking a little shaky. No, I'm a professional. I'm a master of my craft. I did the math. I put in 10,750 hours of training before I had a job. So if you ask, anybody that makes you a master of your craft.
Why you ain't take the serum? Bro, I text you as soon as I walked out the movie. I was like, Harrison Ford was kicking your ass. You should have.
He threw that little thing. That nigga slapped that little thing. He said, uh-oh.
Hey, the stuff on Instagram, the videos where like the little people will be throwing the javelin, and then it would be like a toothpick that gets stuck. That's what he looked like at the end fight Harrison Ford.
Harrison, 92 years old, was slapped that little shit out there.
But for in following your career though, I've seen you talk about things that Morgan Freeman has told you, things that Samuel L. Jackson has shared with you. Like you said, you've been in these movies, whether it's, $1 Million Baby, you've been in Hurt Locker, all of these things that people have won awards in, and movies that have won awards. What's something that you learned through art, through making films, through what you do for a career or living that's truly stuck with you?
It's interesting. Like, you look at cats, and I feel like in order to get better, you have to work at your craft. You know what I mean? Like, if you're not acting, you're not going to become a good actor. And you see cats who get famous, and all of a sudden they're selling watches and duty free, and they so into selling watches, they ain't acting no more. Yeah. You see a dude do a movie, and all of a sudden he has an Instagram following, so he's so famous on Instagram, he ain't doing movies no more. He ain't doing theater no more. Like, I think it says a lot. Denzel's an interesting cat to me, and I've always watched him from afar and kind of not tried to emulate, but pay attention to his career and his choices. And it's informed me a lot. And when you look at it, it poses a lot of questions. But Denzel is on Broadway right now doing Othello.
Grinding.
Denzel's working. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, at one point, Denzel was on, and this was the most amazing point of my career. James Earl Jones was on 48th Street doing On Golden Pond. I was on 46th Street doing McReal, and Denzel was on 44th Street doing Julius Caesar. So at the end of my show, I would go out and go up to 48th Street and literally sneak in the back door and watch the end of James Earl Jones on Golden Pond. Then I'd come down 6th Avenue, go to 44th Street, and I'd see Denzel finish his play, and then he'd come out there, and everybody in the audience would come outside, 1,000 people outside, and stand there and line up. And he'd come out the stage door, and he signed every program, every single program, right? Of all the people who came to the show. So one day I had the opportunity to meet him. I was like, you ain't tired of that? He goes, I used to pick up garbage. Like, he was a real life garbage man. He said, if I have to sign programs to never pick up garbage again, I'm gonna sign these motherfucking programs. And that blew my mind. Yeah. That really put everything into perspective for me. It gets to a point to where the student is now the pupil. So somebody coming for your job. And I think that's where it gets tricky. Like, now I call and I'm like, what's up, man? You got some time? Nah, I'm busy. Damn.
Hey, he Othello, man. He did say, though, when they were doing all the gladiator stuff, he said you learn to act on stage, on Broadway. Yeah. He said he didn't learn to act through film, and like, you've gotten opportunities to do those things too, and continue to grow.
Nah, stage is a dangerous beast, dude. It's addictive because literally you get the same show, same blocking, same script every day. So now you got to be conscious enough and present enough to be able to make the tweaks in real time to affect the audience. And you got to be able to listen to the audience to where some audience is going to laugh at every joke, some audience is going to be quiet. You got the old people that come to the theater just to sleep. Yo, real rap, you do Shakespeare, you have these fucking old people that come there with the script and they watch the play like this. So it's like a read-along to these motherfuckers. So if you get if you get locked into that, you could get thrown off.
Right.
So you have to be able to, and for all intents and purposes, read the room. You have to be able to figure out what's going on around you and how does that play. Because that's the most important thing. It's tennis. It's a relationship between you and the audience. And once you get on set, it's the same thing. It's the fourth wall. The camera's the fourth wall. So I'm talking to you. We playing tennis. Now, if you're a shitty actor, which most of them are, you keep dropping the fucking ball, now I'm gonna have to take you over.
And do you have to pick them up? Now I don't got to call nobody out, but if you had to pick people up, you can say names if you want to. I enjoy it, but like, did you have to pick people up? Because I've seen all your movies, and I'm like, oh, this nigga carrying this shit. But do you have to pick people up? Like, even from you, Denzel, Manchurian Candidate, like, you work with some bad people. Like, do you ever feel like the co-star when you're with them dogs?
Now I do. Like, there's a big reason why I fought for and became an executive producer on Captain America. Because when I'm on set, I have to make sure you're good. So I come to you before and be like, yo, you want to run lines? Yo, with this scene is about this, so you should do, this is without the director. You should do this and we should do that. I'm going to give you this moment, so sit in that moment. All right, bet. All right, so what you doing? We need to do this, boom. So by the time they say action, we're ready. And we haven't even met with the director yet. Like when we were doing Avengers, like Robert Downey Jr. was on set, they would go in his trailer an hour and a half to 2 hours before ever rolling film. And he would sit there with the script and be like, this don't work, this work, rewrite this, do that. So we're all sitting there, like, waiting. And I was like, wow, he really has the ability to do that. Yeah. So when I saw that, I was like, that makes sense. That script has to work for his character to work. And nobody know the character better than him. Mm-hmm. You know? So there's a lot of times where it's not so much you lift other actors up, but you make sure they play to your strengths.
Bro, you work with you bring up names that's just like, you say them so casually, like, yeah, my homeboy Denzel, old Don Cheadle, he did this. Like, how you talk about it? But Freddie, that's my homeboy 20 years. But I was like, what he did on the field, like this man 6'1", 240, running a 4.2.
Right.
Like, you would respect that.
Right.
To that point, like, who's them dudes that, like, you bring up Cheadle, Denzel, like, them people that's like, I can't. Junior say I was one for me.
Yeah.
You remember Junior?
No. Yeah.
I played with Junior, and I watched him my rookie year. I watched Junior play linebacker, and I told my coach, I was like, I'll never be as good as that. I was like, he just does things I can't do.
Fair.
Like, who's them dudes that you just look at like,
Denzel's, I mean,
he's the
GOAT. He's the GOAT.
Yeah.
And he fucked it up for everybody. That's why you have so many bad actors is because of Denzel. Because he makes it look so easy. Motherfuckers watch it and be like, oh, I can do that. No, you can't. He's just that good.
Yeah.
He's that good that it looks effortless. So when Deion Sanders comes out and blazes down the field, that don't mean you can run that. You can work your entire life. You can eat right, you can get a trainer, you can do jump squats out your ass. You will never be able to compete with him.
Yeah.
And that's Denzel. But it's interesting now because the category of acting has changed. You know what I mean? Like, Hollywood don't make stars anymore. Think about it. When we were kids, you had Schwarzenegger, Stallone, Tom Cruise, Denzel, Morgan Freeman. You had Wesley Snipes.
Yeah.
Pacino, De Niro.
I mean, you can name, and I'm not even talking about the women. You can name 50 dudes who were making $10 to $20 million a movie. Now, who's our De Niro?
You Captain America. You are Captain America.
How much of that do you think social media influenced?
I think, great question. I think social media is a big part of it, but also I think a big part of it is just pay.
Okay.
Like, there's nobody out there, like, busting up making $10 million a movie. Like, it's just not happening anymore. But ticket prices are going up.
Right.
It's $25 to go to the movies.
Yep.
Whereas when we were young, it was $8. They were making $20 million a movie. Now we're making $5 to $7. So there's a huge disparity. Where's that extra money going? So it's really interesting when you look at it. If you don't make huge stars, you can pay them less. So that's why every 2 years you have some 21 and 25-year-old white boy pop up, and he has a 5-year run. Next thing you know, he's in a State Farm commercial, and that's it. Then he does a movie with Anne Hathaway, and that's it. And then they get a new one. You know what I mean? Like with black dudes, it's the exact same thing. In 25 years, I've seen the gauntlet, and I'm the only one still here. When I came in the game, it was Mekhi Phifer, Omar Epps, Mos Def. Those were the big dogs, right? Then it went to Mos Def, Derek Luke, Rob Brown, then throw in your random rapper. Then it went to Michael B. Jordan, Jonathan Majors, Damson Idris. I've seen 3 generations come and go. And that's what's scary about it. You see the motherfuckers come and get hot, and then all of a sudden, poof. And it's like, yo, you have no staying power. You have no, because you're not diversifying your portfolio. If all you're investing in is Walmart and Walmart has a bad week, you're fucked. So you gotta be able to do all the other shit. And that's what I always tell young actors. The question is whether you wanna be a working actor or a celebrity. If you wanna be a celebrity, go to LA and be a fucking celebrity. Date a Kardashian, have a great time. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But if you want... No. But if you want to be a working actor, that's a different thing. When I did Half Nelson, Ryan Gosling got nominated for an Oscar. I got paid $65 a day to do that movie.
Dang.
When I did Hurt Locker, I was doing a movie in North Carolina called, I ain't gonna even call it because the director was trash and the movie was trash and he never directed again because he was trash. The movie was called Bolden. You can look him up. He was fucking trash. He was trash, and I'll say it to his face. So I was doing Bolden. Bolden went over, so I had to drop out of Hurt Locker. They went to another actor, offered him the same $55,000 to do Hurt Locker. He said no, it wasn't enough money. They came back to me, and they were like, look, we'll hold the movie for a week, but you got to get on a plane the day you wrap. I said, bet. I wrapped that night, 7 a.m. that morning, I was on a flight to Amman, Jordan.
Wow.
And then Hurt Locker in 2009 became Hurt Locker. But I did that because he decided it wasn't enough money.
Yeah.
Like, my dad told me only hoes work for money. If you love it, you never work a day in your life. The money gonna come.
Right.
So, fuck. When I was a kid, $55,000 more money I thought I'd ever make in my life. Even my daddy was like, boy, they paying you $55,000?
But that's so New Orleans. Hey, that is so New Orleans.
My dad was like, shit, I'm gonna get a new truck. I'm like,
You talk about sort of that gauntlet of people. It reminds me of Jay's song, Every Day a Star is Born, right? When Star is Born, in that song, he talks about the different phases. He's talking about like 50, DMX,
Right.
Eminem. He talks about Ja Rule, Lil Wayne. He talks about all these people who had these spells and these runs, and he's like, but I'm still here.
Right.
Right? He's like, I'm waiting to give it to somebody. It's just y'all can't take it.
Right.
When you look at acting as it is now, and you talk about the changing landscape, how do you create longevity then?
By diversifying your portfolio. I mean, my problem now is this. I'm 46 years old, so I want to get into producing. I want to start curating the Anthony Mackie experience. Tyler Perry has shown us the mold.
Yeah.
Like, we don't get this motherfucker enough respect. What you think about his projects or whatever, this motherfucker has created the wheel, so it don't make sense for me to get a chisel and try to make another one. Like, the brilliance and the ingenuity in which he's executed this business is phenomenal. And we have to acknowledge that. No one else has been able to do that. He makes more money than most studios, right? So you have to curate your experience. Captain America was an Anthony Mackie curated experience because I produced it. Everything. I had to say on all that shit. You know what I mean? When they hired the director called me and was like, yo, I want to be on this movie. You know, well, Octavia called me and cursed me out for about 30 minutes and told me I had to hire him.
Octavia Spencer?
Yo, this chick, she called me and cursed me out for 30 minutes. I'm like, I didn't even say hello. Mackie, your black ass, let me tell you something. Oh, Lord. But that's how we found our director, you know? And once you curate that experience, you start to put yourself in a position where people know what to expect of you. Every time you see a Tom Cruise movie, that's a curated Tom Cruise experience. Will Smith used to be a curated Will Smith. You knew what you were getting. So at this point in my career, because as men, your golden window is 35 to 60. Like you look at Denzel, you can still play Loverboy at 60. You can still do action. Liam Neeson, 115 years old.
Hey, Tom on another mission soon.
Yo,
Yeah.
that motherfucker 80 years old.
Liam Neeson's daughter need to keep her ass in the house. She keep going over there
I
to
swear to
Bulgaria.
God, sit your ass down. But you look at these cats, you make your money from 35 to 60. That's when you have enough years in the business where people trust you and they know what's coming with you. So that way they can say, let's do this. Because I always thought I would be a dramatic actor. I always thought I would be the actor, sitting in there crying about my kid dying, or some World War II shit like Denzel and shit, right? But I've realized now that I'm more of a action star. And I think a lot of it came from, playing football and the athletics that I did. But my career now is based upon my athleticism. So I did a movie Outside the Wire on Netflix, my first Netflix joint. Second day of production, goddamn stuntman go over the table, bust his head, concussed. I mean, eyes in his shit like that, right?
I've been there.
Yeah. That's why I quit football. I was like, I don't feel good. They're like, you have a concussion. Thanks. There we go. But this motherfucker was knocked out. So we still had 6 more weeks of shooting. There were no stuntmen available. We couldn't fly anybody, and everybody I worked with before was booked up. I wasn't using the European dude, so I had to do all my shit. I did that movie. Netflix come back. They're like, yo, we watched the BTS. You really was over there kicking, jumping, and whooping ass. I'm like, yeah. They were like, bet. Boom. Next one. Boom. Next one. And that's even with the Captain America stuff. You know what I mean? It's like, I have a great stuntman, but my stuntman choreograph and dictate stuff to my ability.
That's why you can't kick? Why you can't kick?
I can't kick, bro. You got tight hips too. Fuck you. Your hamstring's tight. Fuck you. Old ass. Still trying to talk that shit. Oh, just for men ass. You know you can't. You can't lie about your age. Kiss my ass.
That's all you, RC? That's all you?
Oh, no, I got a little.
Hell no. That's what I'm
Speedy
saying.
came down there. I put a little paint in it. Hey, I knew Mac was gonna be on the show, so some actors and stuff gonna watch this joint. Like, you never know what producer watch this. Be like, dang. They might be like, he actually kind of look like Ant.
Right, we could use him.
We could use him. And now I'm in there.
But it's about switching it up, dude. Even now, like with all the athletes, it's so interesting with the podcast scene, the commercial scene, the acting scene now. Like, look at what the Mannings are doing. And quiet as kept, like the Mannings are like just dull. Like they're just regular old dudes. They're not like, great personalities, But they've been able to take their brand and really build it to something huge. You look at the Kelces, they were able to, take that Taylor Swift bump and take it to another level. You know what I mean? And I think it's interesting now with the athletes, how they're able to diversify their lanes and able to take that and use that in a way to where I have a big market in Pittsburgh, right? So I'm gonna do this in Pittsburgh, or I'm gonna do that in Pittsburgh. And athletes have always done that. They always had the car dealership or the barbecue joint, or, it's the same thing, just in a different form.
I want to go back to the lie to your children, right? You're a father of 4. I've also heard you say to your kids, they don't really give a damn about what you do. Like my kids, they care less that I play ball. They did not give a at all. But for you, how do you balance being a father with everything Hollywood, and what messages from your upbringing do you impart with them as they grow?
It's funny. I was pretty sure up until Captain America, my kids had no idea what I did. We're literally sitting there. We go see Sonic the Hedgehog, and I didn't know they were playing the Cap trailer before Sonic. So we sitting there, and I got all the shit, dude. I got popcorn, gummy worms. I got they had to bring out a tray for all my shit, right? So I'm talking to my son, hooking up his candy. I hear my voice. Like, oh shit.
See what they
So I'm looking at my kids so I don't say nothing. My oldest son's on his phone. My second son's knee deep in these fucking gummy worms, right? The two little ones are fighting and throwing popcorn at each other. So I'm like, bruh, look at the fucking screen. So everybody behind us go, oh my God, are you okay? Oh, they missed the whole trailer. Whole trailer. Like, what's wrong with you, Dad? Fuck it. But with Captain America is interesting because I try to keep my boys outside of it. Like, I don't want my boys affected by it or even acknowledge the idea of what Hollywood is and what it means to the general populace. Because I want them to find their own path. And we're blessed. Like, we're put in a position where we can afford our kids the best. Mm-hmm. You know, we're in a position where our grandkids, our great-grandkids will be provided for. You know, we weren't like that.
Right.
You know, I know on the West Bank you wasn't like that.
No doubt.
Yeah, y'all ate, you know, Vienna sausages and poke and beans, you know?
I did, though.
That's what I'm saying. But
Straight
that's
up.
real.
Yeah.
You know, that's where we came from. I keep my boys humble. Like, my boys have never had a pair of Jordans. You know, my boys don't do all that internet fly shit. I'm like, your kids. And no, I don't give a f. I could be the biggest star in the world. Do not let me catch you being stupid. Mm-hmm. Do not. And my oldest gets it. My 15-year-old, he tells the other ones, he's like, yo, don't make Dad mad. Because once you get one that's right, he gonna straighten the other ones out. Mm-hmm. So it's just that thing of, you know, in the past 20 years, we've been living through the death of the American male. They have literally killed masculinity in our homes and our communities for one reason or another. But I raised my boys to be young men. And however you feel about that, you feel about that. Right. But my boys will always be respectful. They will always say, yes, sir, yes, ma'am. No, sir, no, ma'am. They will always say thank you. They will always open a door for a lady. They will always make sure that their mother is taken care and provided for. They will always be men. And that's always, since they were 2 years old. Every time I left for a job, I tell my 15-year-old, you're the man of the house. You make sure these doors are locked every night, this alarm is on, you text me or you call me every night before you go to bed and you wake up.
I love that.
Because we're men. If I'm not there to protect, he got to be there to protect. Because you can have all the money in the world, motherfucker climb through the window, that money means nothing.
Right.
You can have all the celebrity in the world, motherfucker jump through the door, that celebrity means nothing. Yeah. So you got to have a little guard in there, you know? And so for me, it's always that idea of American masculinity is very different. You feel it when you go to Europe. Like, you see these and you're like, could bust your ass, boy. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? You go to Europe.
Tight ass pants.
Yeah, tight ass pants. Motherfucker, good, boy, you better lotion your ankle. Like, you feel it when you go to Europe. Even when you, like, I was just in Kenya and I was walking around, I'm like, yeah. Dude was like, you ain't from here. Like, nah. Like, yeah, I could tell. I know you can. I could tell I ain't from here. You know what I mean? It's just that American male masculinity is something I think is very important for boys. Because now our little boys are afraid to fail, so they don't try. You know what I mean? When we were kids, we did tackle drills. We would run face first into each other.
We just talked about it. Dudes don't even talk to a woman face to face no more.
They don't know how no more. Because, women they are so mean and so angry. Bruh, I saw this, my nephew was talking to this girl. Oh my God, dude, she just killed him. I mean, he was like, excuse me, how you doing? She goes, ugh. How do you come back from that? He just walked over to me. I gave him his beer. I was like, there you go, bro. That didn't happen. Let's start over.
You said Betty White shot her shot at you and you flinched. You ain't doing that.
Yes. But the thing about it is, when you look at, the reason I flinched and the reason I thought it was so funny, when you look at the history of her in Hollywood, it was actually like a touching moment. Right. Like, Betty White had her own, like, Johnny Carson late night show. She was the first person to put a black man on television. Wow. And that's why they canceled her show. Wow. They were like, take him off. He was like the dance instructor for the show. And he would dance on the show. And they were like, take him off or you're going to get canceled. One season she was canceled with a highly rated show. So, you know, when you see who you're dealing with, when you go back and watch Golden Girls, You know what I mean? And when Don Cheadle, one of my favorite episodes of TV ever, there was a Golden Girl episode, and Blanche came out and put the Confederate flag in front of the check-in booth. So Don Cheadle had this moment, bruh, and this is when I knew. I was like, this dude ain't human. Like, there's no way he's acting like this is the best actor of all time. Right. Hands down. Like, I started acting because of Don Cheadle and this moment. Like, the monologue he had, the way he cut them to pieces, the way he utilized his words about that flag. I was like, holy shit, that's what we doing. We're using words to affect change.
Right.
So that's why it's always been so important to me to like I've been chasing this. My first job was Don Cheadle's understudy in Top Dog Underdog. You know what I mean? Yeah. So that's one of those dudes you look at, you know, you talk to, you call, and you're like, yo, man, what do you think about this? He goes, well, Mackie, that's just stupid. Damn, good point, my bad.
And like with Don, right, we got to meet him, and it's like a lot of these dudes, you don't actually know they're not from here.
Right.
Right, like if you look at Don Cheadle and everything you've seen him, he's like, he's from the hood.
Right.
And they're not. Or
Right.
Damson Idris, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
You watching Snowfall, and then I heard him talk, and I was like,
Right.
holy hell. Stringer Bell.
Right.
You couldn't have told me that Stringer Bell wasn't from here.
Right.
So in that, like for you, you know, you're talking about American masculinity, right, being taken. And then there's also being a black man in Hollywood and
Very different.
trying to get these jobs. And then
Very
now
different.
you do add to it that the same role you're going for, that it might be somebody that's from New Orleans that you're supposed to be playing. But that role could go to somebody from the UK.
100%.
How much does it affect that, like, there's so much going into getting that job?
The UK explosion has been really interesting because it's not the other way around. You know what I mean? Like a British dude can come here and do a shitty accent or do a good De Niro impersonation. They're like, wow, I couldn't even tell you were from London. I'm like, I could. What the fuck are you talking about? Don't nobody talk like that. I ain't gonna say no names, but you watch these motherfuckers and they just do, like the white dudes do De Niro impersonations, the black dudes do Denzel impersonations. And don't fuck around and put a British dude next to Denzel. That motherfucker gonna be sitting there mouthing the words Denzel's saying, like it's crazy when you see it, bruh. And I think just because I've been in the business so long, I can recognize it. But if you go to London, everybody has a different accent. There's no standard British accent. You go to Shepherd's Bush, you know, you go to Notting Hill, you go to any part of London, every single person has a different accent because everybody's from somewhere else, right? So if you do a British accent, they're like, nah, that's not British. I'm like, really? Because I know a motherfucker that sounds just like that. But you can come here and do a shitty American accent. You know what I mean? And we accept that shit.
It almost feel like long as it's not British no more, it's okay.
You can, true story. I was working with this actor and he was supposed to be from the South, right? Supposed to be from New Orleans. So I'm a producer on the movie. Midway the movie, I go to the director, I'm like, hey, we need to put a line in here that this motherfucker moved here from another country because that motherfucker ain't from America. He's like, what do you mean? I'm like, he had 5 different accents in one role. Like he had to say y'all, right? Easy, y'all. Yeah. That motherfucker was like, yow. How you put both L's in that motherfucker? What are you doing? So every time we're on camera, and my performance in the movie is bad because the whole time, every time he talk, I'm just looking at him like, nah. Like the whole movie should have been called Nah, because every time I'm on screen, I'm like, that ain't it, bro, that ain't it. So we literally put a line in there, like, you know, what made you move to New Orleans at such a young age to be a doctor? Like when you left Europe, what was that about? Right. So it's like, all right, now we established that this motherfucker ain't from here, so he can talk this crazy shit.
Right. Have you ever had to turn a role from a white role to fit you? Like I think Morgan Freeman, Raider, was supposed to be like an actual Irishman. Have you ever had to work to get somebody to say, nah, don't change the role. Like I can do this role.
Dude, Hurt Locker. Hurt Locker was written for a white dude. 50-60% of my films were written for white dudes. And now it's to the point, it's interesting. Unless you're doing a movie in a damn, Swiss Alps in 1812, They don't even put race in a character description anymore.
Wow.
Yeah, because so much stuff has changed in Hollywood that you don't really see that anymore. But in the early 2000s, it was like character breakdown, white male, Tom Cruise type, white shoes, white speech, clear and white teeth, white. But now they don't really do that anymore. But there's been, I mean, a lot of movies that were written for white actors that, like I said, once I took the meeting with the director, all this shit, I've done 100 movies, you know I can act. Now it's about if we get along. Because I ain't showing up to work every day if you're annoying the fuck out of me. I'd rather just not do the movie because I'm gonna slap the shit out you.
You really had to Google me, bro. Standard, like, don't nigga Google me. Don't, you know what I'm saying? Like you're at that. But all the roles you do, what was the hardest? Cause like we've had other actors on, and I'm like to challenge that. I think I'm sneaking on brother to brother.
Perry? Perry?
Cause you kissed a man. Like now I've heard you say in the past, like some people told you that would kill your career to be gay. Like just channeling those roles, but just getting in that mind frame, that mindset of doing roles that really ain't you.
Right.
You were married, got 4 sons, but
Right.
now you kissing a man, like channeling that. You kissed a man.
He's different.
like-
Nah, he
I was worried about that.
Hey, I know I was worried about him because he ain't had no facial hair, and I don't really feel like you can trust a black man
You
with no
can't
facial
with
hair.
that booty face. Nah, I grew that shit right
At least that
back.
little thin one. At least that.
Hey, I don't like that, dog.
So my first job when I was at Juilliard, there was this guy named Michael Wynn. He was a writer. And we workshopped and did a play about Tupac called Up Against the Wind. So I played Tupac 3 times on stage, off Broadway, and in the movie, right? So the interesting thing was Michael Wynn wrote this play called Up Against the Wind. We did it at school. This guy, Rodney Evans, came to see it. He was doing this movie. He wanted me to play Perry's best friend, who was the poet. And I was like, nah, Perry's the best role. Like, I don't give a f that he gay. Like, it's the best role. He's like, well, you can't play gay. I said, why? He's like, because you're not gay. I was like, that's the dumbest shit I've ever heard. I'm an actor. We acted. Right? So after a lot of back and forth, he gave me the role. Mostly because he couldn't find anybody else who can act. So, so got the role, did the movie, finished the movie, went off to do 8 Mile. So that was literally my first movie. Man. But I did it for a specific reason. Growing up in the South in the 90s and 80s, you grow up homophobic, sexist, and racist. Like we talking about the 80s and the 90s. That's just a fact. You know what I mean? So when I got to school, my roommate was gay. Like I didn't know how to deal with that. Like my brother's gay. I didn't know how to deal with that. So being a man, I used my art to better myself. I played Perry so that I could understand my brother better. So I could understand my friends better. Going to art school, a bunch of my friends were gay. You know what I mean? Like when I was a kid, we had a record label, we had the first gay rapper. Nobody gave a f. You make good music, nobody care. You know, Big Frida is famous.
Here for sure.
For sure. You know what I mean? So the idea of being gay in New Orleans has always not only been supported, but it's been a part of the culture. But with me, I needed to figure out what was my holdup, what was my insecurity about that. And once I played that role, I realized everybody deserves to be loved. It's not my job to say who you love or who should love you. If you loved, I'm happy for you. That don't mean I'm gay. You know, so Perry was more so a statement piece for me with the love and admiration for my brother, with the appreciation and respect of my friends for that culture. It really put me in a position where I think it made me a better actor because I had to go so far out the box. I had to go to the furthest spectrum away from myself to play that role.
Was that the hardest role that you had to conjure?
No. I really answered the question, if a tree falls in the woods and nobody's there to hear it, does it make a sound? I did some of my best acting in my career, like literally high fives walking off set every day on this Amazon show. So it was me acting against myself. So I had to learn literally 65 pages of dialogue. So the premise of the show was, I was a dude who realized he had a terminal illness. So you could order a clone of yourself, and you get 48 hours to teach that clone everything he needs to know to live as you for your family for going forward. So literally, I had to play clone me and real me. And dude, I'll tell you something, man. It was the hardest experience I've ever had in my career. It really, and I did it for that reason. I was like, you get comfortable. You're doing 4 or 5 movies a week. You're making money. You got the truck. It's like all this shit. You're just chilling. Money ain't a question no more. So what's the question? So after the past 20 years, I was like, I really need to do something to see if I still got it. Like, I really need to find a role that challenges me. So found this role, met with the director, and did it, and murdered it. I don't talk about my work a lot, but this one I said, I fucking murdered it. And not too many people could have done what I did with that role. But nobody saw it.
I'm about to say, what's the goddamn? I need the name or something, man.
Not one person saw it.
It's not on Amazon?
Yeah, it's on Amazon.
Well, you got one view.
We always ask our guests, what's their biggest pivot, right, in life? That's that one moment you can look back on and say, without this moment happening to me, I wouldn't be who I am. But I want you to respond in your New Orleans accent, because nobody will never hear it.
That's funny. I'll say when I was in 10th grade, my best friend got killed. And I saw it. Like, I was standing there with him, and I was across the street. He was at the gas station. Dude got out and just mowed him down. And I realized I had to leave New Orleans. Like, a lot of people don't know this, I don't talk about it. My mom passed away when I was 15. So after that, I was in a spiral. You know what I mean? I was in the streets, I was doing dumb shit, like just running around being an idiot. Because I was basically, I know I can say now, I was acting out, railing against God. Like, there are all these bad people out here, why would you take my mom? Like, my mom go to church every Sunday. We do the feeding of the hungry once a month. Like, why would you take my mom? My mom's a great mother. She's a humanitarian. She took care of kids. She take care of the neighborhood. Why would you take my mom? So I really went to a dark place. And because of that, a lot of dark stuff happened. And the passing of my mom with my friend getting killed is what preempted me to go to North Carolina for that summer. Because I knew if I stayed that summer, I wouldn't be here today. It's just, it is what it is. That was the big moment. When my mom passed away, I literally was done. I mean, my dad was a great dad, but there's only so much you can do without a mom.
Right.
So once I found an understanding and a love for my craft, it filled that void. It filled that hole, and it really gave me a better understanding of myself. So I would say that was the big moment. But seeing my boy get killed like that was crazy.
It's so many people that we know that have had that experience.
Yeah.
It's not just about New Orleans, right? I think a lot of times we do get the reputation of that because it's, what P used to say, murder capital of the world.
Right.
Right? And it was part of our experience, but I also know that you had a teacher that told you, don't let them people get all that New Orleans about you.
Right.
And stay authentic to that, man. And I think you have, and that's what's the most exciting part for me. Like, when I do see you on screen, and I'm not gonna lie, it feels good that I can text you after the movie. You know what I mean? Like, I got his number, I'm just gonna text him after the movie. But to know that somebody else from here made it, man. Somebody else from here has done well, but also somebody else from here comes back.
Right.
Right.
Yeah,
You move away, you experience things, but you remember all the people here and what it means to see you walk down the street, wave and shake a hand, man.
No, I still talk to my teachers. I was literally with my high school acting teacher last week. You know what I mean? Like, I realized, the importance of education and teachers. Every time I had a teacher who left me off, I had another teacher who picked me up. And it was weird shit. It was shit black dudes don't do. You know what I mean? Like, when I got to New York, I was studying with Felix Ivanov. He was the head clown for the Moscow Art Theater.
Yeah.
So he defected from Russia, came to America, and became like a movement and clown teacher. Now I'm studying, what other black dude doing circus clown class?
You're right.
Right. Like, my teacher, right. But I was seeing the world in a different lane, in a different light. Like my teacher here, Ray Frizzell, this motherfucker, he was like, we're gonna do something different. So we do a mime troupe, right? So we're straight up doing mime shit, telling stories in mime and shit, and we're going around to old folks' home and senior citizen shit in schools, and we're performing these mime shows for kids and old people, right? Nobody else do that. But it gave me a completely different perspective on the world. Yeah. You know what I mean? It was so much fun because I was doing everything I never thought was possible. Because I knew the kids uptown was doing it, the kids in private school was doing it. I knew, when I would talk to kids, when I got to NOCA, like when that motherfucker told me backpack across Europe. Like, would your black ass go home and tell your mama, Mom, I'm taking 8 pair of underwear, 2 pair of pants, and 6 shirts, and I'm gonna walk across Europe for 3 months. Sit your black ass down.
And the last day she gonna tell you is we can't afford that.
Right.
So you ain't going.
Right, you ain't going.
Man, but appreciate you so much, man.
Nah,
Just
no doubt, bro.
from where you started to where you are now, but also, man, spending this time with us today, man. Thank you so much.
Y'all get something to eat? Y'all want something to eat? Y'all look hungry.
You need me to walk, you should come.
Appreciate you, family.
That's love.
Thank you, dog.
Thank y'all for coming.
No, man, appreciate you, man.
I got a roll foot. I ain't Captain America, man.
He tried to do a
I
toe
tried to do a
touch.
toe touch for my daughter.
You lying.
Did the toe touch and landed in that big crack.
Broke his foot.
Broke my foot.
How old you in?
41.
Yeah, you got it. Yeah, come on, man. Come on, man.
Hey.
That's how people.
All right.
Happening?
What's up, Fred? What's up, boss? Good. Good, Mr. Pleasure. For sure. All right.
Of course, they gonna tell us before you came here, y'all gotta sit up. I ain't gotta sit up.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, we ain't gotta sit up because Boris coming in here.
You gotta walk though now.
Hey, walk like a model. Walk like a model. Yeah.
Get out of here with that. That top 50?
Yeah.
That was in the late 60s. Come on.
Boris Kojo, welcome to the Pivot. This is Channing Crowder. This is Fred Taylor and Ryan Clark.
Right.
Pivot fam, thank y'all for pivoting with us. Boris, we're gonna get this out the way early.
Oh, what's up?
Go ahead, Chan.
I wore this shirt for a reason.
The Spider-Man shirt?
I'm gonna cut the room in half. Because this is me and you if we were neighbors.
What does that mean? What you mean by that?
We walk out to get the mail, I'm gonna point at him. What's up, Dime?
Oh, okay.
There's a bunch of dimes walking around here, baby.
That's actually how I dress every day. So that's right on point.
They don't understand the plight of a male dime. I've been trying to explain it to them for years.
What is that? What is that?
Just the struggle we go through, pulling everywhere. Hey, Red. Hey, Red.
It's too much.
It's too much for you. Have you gathered that? Because you've been a sex symbol for a long time.
What?
Boris, there's no way Channing calling you a sex symbol made you uncomfortable. Like he said that and you went, what?
Really? I was uncomfortable?
You don't know that?
That I'm a sex symbol?
Yeah.
You think I'm a sex symbol?
You are a sex symbol. You in books is the sexiest people in the world, bro.
What does that even mean?
That means that maybe some women are enjoying themselves with themselves and think about you.
Oh, okay. That's a good thing.
You've seen the show, right?
That's a good thing.
You can understand why he would say something like that.
Listen, yeah. I'm not sure I've seen every show, but I've seen almost every show.
Well, quick rundown. He got his teeth upgraded, and he hasn't been out of the mirror since.
I saw that.
So his thing is
look good.
Appreciate you, bro.
Light-skinned guys. But I want to know from your perspective, top 50 sex symbol that you don't claim, but he does. Of the 8.2 billion people on the planet, where would he fall?
This guy?
Yeah.
That's a lot of people.
No, 8.1 probably somewhere.
No, you know, top 500 million.
I'm going with
that's
He put you there.
I mean, think about it. That's the top like 8%.
It is up there.
I appreciate you,
Right?
bro. Sorry, fellas.
Yeah.
It's all, I'm comfortable with that. Boris, you were extremely early, right? Which most people are not for our show. So we're very grateful. You said that was the German in you.
Yeah.
Can you, because normally what I like to do is to show people that I studied and prepared, I'll say their whole name.
Oh,
But
please try. Please try. No, you have to.
No, I read it.
You got to try it. Say the
And
name. Come on.
once I read it, I just didn't even put all those names in the middle of Boris and Kojo, and I was like, I was gonna ask you to say it and explain to me like what that means and where that name comes from.
Okay, well, the whole name is Boris Frederick Cecil Tenate Ofuerte Kojo. That's the whole name. Boris is based on Boris Pasternak, who was a Russian poet and author. And he wrote Dr. Zhivago, which is an epic movie as well. And my parents' favorite movie. So that's where Boris came from. Frederick was my uncle, Captain Frederick Ofuerte Kojo. Cecil was my grandfather. Tenate means firstborn son in Ga, which is my father's tribal language. And Ofuerte Kojo is a double name.
So you grow up in Germany as a biracial black man, because you said it, I walk this earth as a black man.
That's right.
When you are set apart by color right away, visibly different, what were some of the challenges growing up there and being a black man?
Racism is universal. It's everywhere. There's ignorance and misinformation and fear, because that's really where it comes from. So I was faced with racism, with bullies every single day growing up in Germany, because I was different. Kids reaching out, grabbing my hair, rubbing your skin to see if it's real. Like asking if, we live on trees in Africa, or just the most ignorant, dumb things based on, again, misinformation and fear. On top of it, my mother's white, my father's from Ghana, but my dad left when I was between 3 and 4 years old. So it was just my mom and me and then my brother. So I always felt different. And when you're a child, all you want is be just like everybody else. You want to belong. You want to fit in. Not having my father there made it so much harder, because I didn't have anybody to relate to. I didn't have somebody to protect me. I didn't have somebody to explain to me what this was. My mother did an extremely admirable job in putting a sense of pride and a sense of confidence in us. She always told us that we were great the way we were, because she was trying to shield us. She was explaining to us how ignorance works, and that a lot of people say these things because they're dumb, they don't know any better. So she tried her best to sort of give us a sense that we had value in this hostile environment, if you will. But I sort of gravitated towards sport because it presented me with an outlet, something that I could sort of let out all my aggression and my anger and the pent-up frustration that I felt every day. And that's how soccer, basketball, and tennis sort of came into my life. And I compensated for everything that I felt by excelling in sports, like so many of us, seeking out sports or music as an outlet.
It really shows that it's sort of the same story in different places. A lot of times you feel sort of this separation as what we feel is a black American male, because that feels like such a construct of this country. But we've sat with other people who grew up in different countries, and they've told us about this same thing. We sat with Israel Adesanya, who grew up in New Zealand, and he talked about having some of the same struggles, you did, even growing there.
Yeah.
And you pointed to sports. I mean, I can say football saved my life.
Sure.
It kept me out the streets. It kept me at home. It kept me around a group of kids that wanted to do and enjoy the same thing. And for you, earning a tennis scholarship to come over here to the States, which eventually led to video with TLC, acting, etc. Red light special, right?
I forgot that you guys do research.
Yeah, red light special. Remember that video, man?
The shirt over.
Oh no. With the feather boa around the neck. That's real sexy.
Hey, when that happens though, when they bring you that outfit, like, what's your thought process?
Look, I was young. I needed the job, okay? No, this was my first experience, so I was brand new, and it was all very exciting. So you don't really speak up, right? Because you're just happy to be there. And in retrospect, my kids make fun of me. They always pull it up in the most inopportune situations, and they bring it up and they sort of throw it in my face. But it is what it is. It's one of those things that I like to forget.
Right.
But thanks for bringing it up.
But I was just trying to go to, you get these opportunities presented from tennis, much like football has opened other doors for me. I like to say football saved my life. Would you say tennis is kind of one of those things that?
You know what? I appreciate the question. I think tennis gave me life.
Okay.
Because without tennis, I would not be sitting here right now with you guys.
Yeah.
It opened so many doors for me. And tennis is a difficult sport. And it's a hard sport. It's a sport through which I made all my friends and forged all these relationships worldwide. To this day, I have really, my closest friends are in tennis.
Right.
And it teaches a lot of lessons. You learn discipline, resilience, mental strength. You learn how to pivot, right? Because when you miss a forehand into a net, you can't belabor that for 2 minutes. You're gonna lose the next 5 points. So, and that's a very important life skill to have that I try to teach my kids. We all run into adversity and challenges, but the question is, how long does it take you to pivot from being affected to responding? And in tennis, it has to happen in half a second. Roger Federer said something really interesting. He did this commencement speech at a university, and he was talking about how he won 80% of his matches, but lost 50% of the points he played, right? So winning and losing is very close together. It's really about how quickly can you pivot in order to take advantage of the next opportunity that comes your way. So tennis has taught me so much about not being defined by one thing. It taught me about integrity. It taught me about friendships, about the fact that relationships are really the most asset you can have as a human being. And it taught me how to cherish those relationships and to work on them just like you work on anything else.
Right. You mentioned several other sports in there too when RC was talking about the racism. But tennis, like for us, we have people we can look at that look like us and say, I want to be like him. But in tennis, it was in the late 80s, 90s, Pete Sampras, Agassi, McEnroe. Who were like the people that drew you to the sport? Like, why tennis?
Ironically, my father put the first tennis racket into my hands when I was 3 years old. And I have pictures of myself in Ghana, because that's where we used to spend a lot of summers playing tennis. And I think that's also the reason why I fell in love with the sport, because I think when I was young, it gave me a feeling of connection to my father. When he left, I let go of the sport. And then I rediscovered it later when I was 10 or something. I never even thought about that, now that you bring it up. I think my father was a big influence in me losing the sport and then rediscovering the sport. I always felt close to him while I was playing. Even later on in life, it was a conversation piece that was easy for us to engage in, even when other conversations were hard.
Right.
Later on, I had the good fortune of being invited to the south of France to practice at an academy, and I got to train with Yannick Noah. And Yannick Noah was a huge influence on me. I don't even think that he knows that. I'm very good friends with his son, Joachim. I got to train with him, which had a huge impact because it's the first time I saw that I could hang. I was 14. And yeah, I don't know if you guys you probably experienced the same thing, but the first time you work out with somebody who you admire and you see how close you are, it gives you a great deal of motivation.
Right.
So Yannick Noah was a big deal for me. And obviously, I know the history of the sport, so Arthur Ashe was another one that, it's almost full circle because Yannick Noah was discovered by Arthur Ashe when he visited Africa, and he brought him to France. I got to play with Yannick in the academy in Antibes in the south of France. I went on to play college tennis, and entertainment, all that stuff. And after probably 20 years, we started a foundation, my wife and I, and we're now sponsoring Black high school students who have aspirations in the classroom and on the tennis court. And we have a partnership with the academy in the south of France.
That's
so
awesome.
We're sending kids there to train with these coaches. Patrick Mortuglu, that's his academy. It's Serena's former coach. So we're sending kids there to train and to get scholarships for to come back to the States and study. So it's a weird sort of full circle moment for me.
Amazing. Yeah.
And again, that's all because of tennis.
Right.
Speaking about how difficult tennis is, you got into very difficult avenues in life. And then you go back, you said earlier where like you kind of felt alienated as a kid or different. Were you trying to prove something? Or are you still trying to prove something? Because tennis is hard as hell. You got a scholarship, hurt your back. Then you went into modeling. Oh yeah, I'm a worldwide model. Oh yeah, I'm gonna go act. And there's a million actors out there. Were you choosing hard career paths, or were you trying to prove something to the world or to them kids that used to mess with you?
Guys, you're asking me questions that I've never even thought about. That's a great question, but you know what? You know what I think? Again, I got to give credit to tennis, because without tennis, I wouldn't have gotten scholarships here in the States. I wouldn't have come over here. When I first came to VCU, I was there for 4 months. I wanted to go back home and study, and I stayed. I fell in love with the university, the coach, my teammates, and I stuck around, and I got my degree in finance, and I was actually on my way to Wall Street. I was in New York after I had graduated, and I was staying with my sister on West Broadway, and I was walking back to her apartment, and this lady jumped up from one of the tables at one of those restaurants on the sidewalk and said, "What agency are you with?" And I had no idea what she was talking about. Agency? I was like, FBI, what are you talking about? No idea. She was having lunch with a photographer called Bruce Weber. When Bruce Weber, at the time, was the fashion photographer, shooting all the big campaigns. And the next day, I had my first shoot with him. I was shooting for, I think it was Versace. And I did all the campaigns with him right away. So I sort of took a detour because I was on my way to Wall Street. And I said, hey, this is cool. I can make some money. I can, travel, see the world. So then I lived between New York and Paris, Milan and London, and traveled the world and did that for a while. And the acting thing came about because I had a really terrible German accent still. I couldn't speak English very well. So my friend said to me, hey, you go to acting class, they teach you all these breathing techniques and you learn how to speak English better. And that's why I went to acting class. I went to acting class here in New York, Susan Batson, incredible teacher. So I went to acting class because I wanted to learn how to speak better English. It's interesting you said the hardest things, because at the time, I didn't even think about that as an endeavor that I was pursuing. I was just taking one step after the next. And I think one thing that I also learned from tennis is that I was always prepared. I'm always open and I'm always prepared, because on a tennis court, you never know what's going to happen next. So you have to sort of be open to whatever's going to go down. And I've used that approach in my life to this day, where I never shut myself off to opportunities or anything else. I know how life works, and tennis taught me to be prepared for whatever happens. That's how it happened for me. So you can say, well, you kind of manifested that, because I believe when you live in a certain vibration and you're in alignment, good things happen, right? So I think it's a combination of the two. One, tennis really prepared me, and on the other hand, I'm always open, I'm always prepared for whatever comes.
When I got into TV, it was really important to me that I showed people how intelligent I was, right? I played, because I played safety, which isn't a glamour position. I wasn't going to be a Hall of Famer. And so I felt like every time I got on TV, I had to prove to people I'm here because of my acumen, right? I'm here because of my ability to understand this game.
Why do you think you had to prove that?
That was just my feeling. It was a me
I know
thing.
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
Why?
it was a me thing. Well, I think I've always felt that way, right? I was a really good high school player, but I wasn't the top recruit in my class. I ended up being a really good pro, but I was an undrafted free agent. And so I always felt like I'm only going to get to stay around if I approach every day like an interview to prove the thing to people that I feel like I have to prove every day. And it was a me thing. It wasn't that people say, hey, you got to go on TV and show people you're smart. But when Channing mentioned all of your difficult career choices, it helps in all of those careers to be an attractive human, right? And sometimes we look at, quote unquote, the pretty people and we don't give them credit for the depth. We don't give them credit for the layers. We don't give them credit for the intelligence. How have you navigated showing all those things while accepting pretty privilege?
Somebody just talked about this the other, I saw that somewhere. Oh, Halle Berry talked about it, I think. How it's always two sides of a coin. You know, growing up in Germany and being bullied every day, I didn't feel very special, right? I was never really aware of, I don't know what you want to call it, appearance until I came here. In Germany, we don't have this type of celebrity-focused culture that we have here in the States. So modeling, I didn't even know that existed as a job when I was growing up. So when I came here, there was two things that I noticed. One, I really felt the sense of peace in just being one of many because there were so many black people at the school. So I felt a sense that I could just disappear sometimes. Because in Germany, when I walk into a room, everything stops. When I walk into a restaurant, everybody stops eating because I look different. I have a different skin. Everybody else is white. So when I came here, I felt a lot of weight lift off my shoulders because I could just be. In a weird way, I had double consciousness when I was in Germany. And when I came here, that sort of was relieved a little bit, even though later on I learned and experienced that as African Americans, we do have severe double consciousness. The sense that we are very in tune with who we are, but we also understand how we're being perceived at every moment, right? So it's two ways of looking at ourselves. So, and then the second thing was that obviously because we were taught history and I knew where I was coming from, where I came from, my father's history, my mother's history. And I learned very early on that as African Americans, we were dealing with a sense of trauma that we haven't collectively figured out a way how to address it or heal from. And that a lot of issues we're dealing with collectively and individually here in this country are based on this generational trauma that's been passed from one to the next. So me coming from outside, I had a different perspective on what it was like to live here in the States as an African American, right? Because I was being perceived as an African American. Today, everybody thinks I'm African American. So that was really interesting to me because a lot of the issues that we're dealing with here, and that's why I appreciate you guys so much. I wanted to say that in the beginning, but now that I'm talking about it, what you guys have created here is, it cannot be overstated how important it is for us collectively and individually. That's why I watch every single show, because you have created a safe forum for people, mostly men, black men, for black men to be completely vulnerable and open and share what I think is even more important than our success stories, which is our journey, especially as it pertains to challenges and adversity.
Thank you.
Because with social media and the internet, all we're doing is broadcasting fake ideas of success, triumphs, and accolades. And we never really, and that's all these kids are consuming. So they're getting a false sense of life while they're comparing themselves to something that cannot be possibly attainable for them, right? Because it's not real. And it sort of plummets them further into their own sense of inferiority or depression. And my mother's a psychologist, so it's actually a term that is real now. It's called Facebook depression. And what it means is that these kids are continuously getting more and more depressed about themselves and their lives by watching everything that's going on. So again, you guys have created this forum that is so important for us as Black men to be able to be open and vulnerable. And what's even most important is to help each other. Because that's one thing we don't know how to do. We don't know how to ask for help. I just wanted to commend you on that because I think it's so important. I totally forgot the question though, so.
Well, I was just saying just how you navigated that space though of, because in talking to you or even in like time we were on the phone, even in meeting you, when you walked up to me, it wasn't some sort of very surface conversation, right? The first thing you did was you congratulated me and then you appreciated me, which is not something as Black men you feel like you get immediately upon meeting someone that you admire, you know? And there was so much depth in that to me. But there is this outward part of you, that's the first thing people see, the first thing people judge you on. Oh, it must be easy to be 6'4". No, and this is real, like to be 6'4" and be handsome and be talented and be articulate. Like there is no reason to have depth. There's no reason to truly dive into traumas or adversity or care and be compassionate about other people, right? And so when you don't get that because of those things, like how do you balance not really being overboard to show people, no, I am all of this stuff too that has nothing to do with my appearance?
You know, I can't worry about what people think or say. I learned that very early on. I am who I am, and I am comfortable with who I am. And I think sometimes people project things onto me based on their own paradigms and how they feel about themselves. And when people have an issue with me, it's usually because of that. It's not because they have an issue with me. It's because I represent something that they now have to sort of deal with, or the lack thereof they have to deal with themselves. And I always tell my kids, shine your light unapologetically. And if somebody can't handle it, that's their issue, it's not your issue. I had a really crazy experience when I first started in Hollywood. I went to an audition and I walked in the room and I shook everybody's hand and I smiled and I introduced myself. And I did the audition and I left, and the female Black producer ran after me and chewed me out, laid into me, like screamed at me. The arrogance I had walking into a room, acting like I owned the place. And all I did was smile and I introduced myself and I shook everybody's hand. And I was shook, like I was really affected by that because I couldn't understand that she perceived my behavior as being arrogant and conceited, and when I literally just smiled and introduced myself. And that moment taught me a lot, right? It taught me about trauma. It taught me about the fact that some people can't handle light, and that I had to focus on myself and not worry about what other people thought. And because everybody's come from a different place. You dealt with a different childhood trauma than Fred dealt with, right? You dealt with something completely, I dealt with something completely different. We never know what another individual went through in their life. That's why empathy is so important. That's why compassion is so important, especially now in this political crisis, climate and crisis. It's so important that we show empathy. Because all that means is that, look, I don't know who you are. I don't know where you came from, what you've been through, or where you're at right now in your life, but I see you. That's all that means. I see you. And I validate your existence. I don't judge you. And it taught me a lot, that moment. And I teach that to my kids. Empathy, kindness. Those are the two things that are very important. Empathy, kindness, respect. Those are things that are very important when we raise our kids.
Boys, can you teach the other Hollywood celebs how to defy the odds? You and Nicole have been together for more than 20 years.
Which is like 90 years in Hollywood.
Right. You got the foundation that you mentioned. You've done projects together. You know, you have 2 beautiful kids. Like how do you get there? How did it all work?
You get there while you're getting there. What that means is that you can't skip any steps and you can never give up. Mm-hmm. If this is your person, right? If this is your person, and I know that she is my person 100%, and because she is my person and I'm her person, we grow together, we learn together, we hurt together, we fight together, we lose together, we win together, and we are in this by choice, right? We don't have to be together, we want to be together. And we do it, and every day is a new start. Everybody has challenges, everybody has issues, everybody's dealing with their trauma that they're bringing into the relationship. So when you talk about healing, you have to talk about healing individually and together. And you just can never give up. A lot of people, I think, run for the hills when it gets tough. I always say people focus on the for better part when they share their vows. And what does it say? It says for better and for worse. But people always focus on that one thing, and the for worse part is gonna come. 100% it's gonna come. So what are you gonna do when it comes? You're gonna run for the hills? Because there's so much opportunity on the other side of those struggles, fears, challenges, and adversity. That's when the beauty really unfolds. That's when you are connected in a way where people talk about unconditional. But you gotta give it a chance. And a lot of people just, for whatever reason, and it's totally fair, when you haven't dealt with your own traumas, you're not in a position, you're not capable sometimes of seeing the other person and seeing their struggles and being empathetic and compassionate and having even the capacity to even deal with that. Totally understandable. But if you want this journey in the long run, you just cannot give up. It's the same with anything else you endeavor. If you want to be successful at it, you can't give up. Right. You guys were talking to Steve Harvey, and you said something, you dig in and you give up right before the goal, right?
Yeah.
Same thing, right? You can't give up, because on the other side of that wall is a whole different set of opportunities in your relationship, right? And that's what we do every single day. We look at each other and we take each other in. We not just listen, we really hear each other. We date each other, you know. We have fun together. We travel. Traveling is one of our most favorite things to do. And we raise these 2 humans together that are now in the world. Yeah. And that is, to me, it's our biggest accomplishment. But it was not easy. We've had some really tough moments, especially in the beginning, especially when one of our children was diagnosed with spina bifida, and we had some challenges around health and not knowing, and I spent 14 hours a day on the computer for months, and I didn't sleep for 10 years because I had to be up every 3 hours and to attend to my child. And therapy. Therapy, definitely. Yeah. Therapy. We've been doing it forever, for 20 years. I did it before that too. It's really helped us at every stage of this journey, for sure.
Your relationship with your beautiful wife, Nicole, and y'all have the same career. So as you know, you're a cop all the time, or, you know, a love interest. So like if she be like, you killed that cop. Or you shooting, the Resident Evil, you shooting up stuff. Hey man, you look good with that gun, baby. But both of y'all are love interests. When you see your wife or your wife see you kissing on somebody, after you see the film, do you come home and be like, yeah, Nicole, you was kissing the hell out of him?
That's right.
How does how does that go? How does that
See how I'm getting
conversation
hot
go?
now? It's getting
Hey,
hot.
that turtleneck started turtling.
It's turtling.
Yeah, turtleneck started turtling.
You're right. It's not easy. I mean, she done kissed everybody in Hollywood. You know what I mean? She done made out with everybody. It's part of the job, and we're very, very, very lucky, very privileged to have this job and to have these careers. It's not easy. We know what it is. Look, when you do a love scene, there's like 20 people around. There's lights. There's like
His favorite question.
microphones and in your face, and you got to redo it. And it's technical. You can't put shadow on her face when you're kissing her. You got to. It's so technical that any sense of sensuality goes out the window immediately. It's not even. So when I watch her with somebody else, I remember. I know that.
Yeah.
That is not to say that I don't fast forward through those moments, because I don't have to look at it if I don't want to. Right? I know what goes on. Yeah, so that's how we handle it. We have a rule. It's called no nipple, no tongue. That's our rules. So, because you can sell a kiss without putting your tongue down somebody's throat. Right. You know what I mean? You can still sell the moment. You don't have to do all that. Mm-hmm. There don't need to be a mouth on a nipple.
So the no nipple rule isn't like don't show a nipple. It's like you don't put a mouth on a nipple.
No mouth on no nipple.
So
it's
that
not
means
necessary.
You can't put a mouth on a nipple, and then nobody can put a mouth on her nipple. What if a woman try to put their mouth on your nipple?
No nipples, no mouths.
Nipple mouth off.
No nipple mouth, no mouth nipple. Easy. That's it. It's easy. No mouth, no nipples. Yeah, sometimes you got to show a nipple, you got to show a mouth. But you don't have to show the mouth on the nipple.
So, no combination.
No nipple, no mouth. No nipple, no mouth, no trouble.
Boris, I read something, you guys are empty nesters.
Yeah.
Right? And Nicole said you can do any and everything you want, like walk around naked if you want to.
Yeah.
Have you ever been to a nudist colony?
A nudist colony?
I'm going to pass it over to
A
Chad.
nudist?
A nude beach.
Well,
It's not.
first of all,
It's not.
all beaches are nude beaches except here in the States.
See that?
So you go to the beach, there's gonna be nipples.
See, but y'all aren't cultured.
When people talk about swingers, I never understood that.
Yeah, no.
I never understood the whole swinging thing.
What part of the? Now I don't understand it either. This is not something I want to do. People who are watching and listening. Disclaimer, just so y'all know. But I am curious to what is, besides everything, what's the thing about swingers that you don't understand or that makes it a 100% no for you?
Because somebody's always gonna lose out.
Explain that.
Yeah, I mean,
It's simple.
somebody's gonna lose out. You never, if I like, theoretically, because I'm not into the swinging thing, disclaimer. Theoretically speaking, if my wife were to be attracted to the other partner, the other husband, and then the other husband has a wife, but I don't
She
like
a 4.
it. There you go. If she's a 4 and he's a 10, my wife's a 10, and now I'm taking one for the team? What is that about?
They are 20 and y'all are 14.
I'm saying, the math gotta be mathing. You know what I mean? The sum of all people have to be the same sum of the.
We both got to go in as 18.
I'm saying,
Yeah.
and it never works out that way. It never does. Not that I can imagine, right? So it's like, I don't understand when people do that.
You know, the question I did have before we got into swingers and
How did we get to? Oh, yeah.
Fred started it.
Silly question.
Fred started it. Acting is so much a part of, like, you bring who you are into the character. You know, like Denzel Washington is my favorite actor, but I always say, like, every Denzel movie is just Denzel living that role. It's like Quantum Leap. You know what I mean? Like, when he was Remember the Titans, he was Denzel, the football coach. And
That's because you like Denzel, and we all love Denzel.
That's what I'm saying,
That's
but-
why it's like the Tom Cruise factor.
Tom Cruise
right?
factor. But
But when he played Malcolm X,
he was Malcolm X.
I'm saying,
I didn't actually, when I see Malcolm X, I always say, that's not the real Malcolm X, because Denzel is Malcolm X to me.
here we go.
Yeah, I totally agree.
Your point exactly.
But what I wanted to ask, right, when you were talking about the love scenes, it would almost feel that it's not those scenes because you know that so well, right? You being an actor as well, you understand what's all going on. But if you're bringing yourself into a scene, I would think that when like I'm supposed to like chuckle at this joke my significant other in the film makes, I try to bring my house chuckle to the scene, right? I wanna laugh like I would laugh if Boris said this joke because that's the authentic laugh, right? How do you deal with sort of like the intimate people moments, the emotional pieces of it? Because to me, that would be more difficult than a sex scene that I understand all this is going on and all this is fake, but it's like, damn, like you laugh real hard when old boy made that joke. How do you deal with the pieces of Nicole that you know when you see those on scene for other people?
Well, first of all, we can't become somebody else. At least I don't believe that. The way I approach it is, I think you have to bring parts of your experience into a character to make the character authentic. So the richer my experience is in my life, the more I can bring to a character. So that's why I always say, when I became a father, I also became a better actor. Because becoming a father means there's chambers in your heart that open up that you didn't even know existed before. So it gives you a lot of resource to fill out a character with. When I watch my wife, I can tell when she's acting and when she's not acting, while she's acting, if that makes any sense, right? She's so good and she's so subtle and she brings so many subtleties to characters, so many levels that a lot of actors don't have access to. So I think she's phenomenal. I love watching her because she's so good, she's beautiful. And I can tell when she does things instinctively that are 100% natural and authentic. Like she's not acting. But the question if I get jealous or not, I don't think I get jealous. I'm so proud of her. I'm so in it with her. So when I watch her, it just fills me with joy, just watching her. There's never a moment where I feel, I wish it was me, or why she does that, why she do that with him. I actually love that she lets people partake in her talent. I mean, she's sharing a gift, right? As actors, whether it's Denzel, we're sharing a gift with people. And we talked about it earlier, we touch people. And sometimes we get to inspire people. When I walk through the airport and I get people who want to take selfies or just say something to me, it's such a humbling experience, because what that means is that something I did touched somebody in a positive way, in a great way. And it's a very fulfilling experience, because they could be throwing tomatoes. You know what I mean? They could be cussing you out.
How'd you feel your experience with your father impacted the sort of father you are with your children?
Oh, damn, now you're gonna get me emotional. I wrote, when I was in first grade, you know, they tell you to paint a picture of what you want to be when you get old, when you become an adult. Everybody wanted to be firefighters and athletes, and I wrote down I want to be a father. So that was my goal. I didn't have one present, and I knew what it felt like to be disappointed all the time and to feel abandoned. When my father left, he said to me, take care of your mother and your brother. And when I was 5 years old, and I took that to heart, and it fucked me up for 30 years, because I thought if I do a good job, he'd come back. And he never came back, so I thought, oh, it's my fault. I didn't do a good job. So I carried that with me for a long time. And so all of that had a huge impact on me as a father, because I knew how important it was to be present for my kids at all time. And I wanted them to feel safe. I wanted them to feel loved. I wanted them to feel validated. I wanted them to feel empowered. So it had a huge impact. And thankfully, we got a second chance with my dad when my daughter was born. And we had all these challenges. He was a doctor. My mother had called him when my daughter was born and told him what had happened. And the next day he showed up at my house in LA. Wow. And I hadn't seen him in, I don't even know. So he showed up, and so the last 10 years of his life, he grabbed this opportunity, and he was a great grandfather to my kids, and he was there, and he visited, and we visited him. So I got a second chance to connect and to speak to him, and I'm super grateful. But he had a huge impact on how I feel as a father and what I do as a father. I always say, I want to be the man my kids think I am, right? Because as a man, as a black man, we have who we are, and we also have who we want to be, right? And who we want to be is usually how our kids see us. So I'm working every day to be the version that they see.
It's beautiful, brother.
Speaking of that, like, reconnect with your dad and how you want to be a great father, and just as you talk, your morals, your moral compass, your love for everybody, sympathy, empathy, everything you talk about, for the culture, trying to uplift black people and everything we all try to really do. Does that have anything to do with the roles that you pick? Because I want to say soft, but like you're never a gangster. you know, you're like a policeman or a doctor.
Be soft?
But I've never seen Boris as a gangster, as a crackhead, as a murderer.
Hey, he be the biggest crackhead ever, though.
Like a thriller. If it's a thriller and we trying to find the killer and you pop out 45 minutes in, I'll be like, damn, Boris, they killed them people. Like you don't have those. I get almost a negative role. I've never seen you in one of them crazy negative roles.
You know, Hollywood, they like to box you in. The first couple of roles that I got to play, 25 years ago, I think it sent me in a certain direction. And the casting directors, producers, directors, they wanted to see me in those roles over and over. And at the end, it's my choice, right? Because I can always say no. But there's also only a few roles like those crackheads or whatever, gangsters you talked about, that are being. I don't think I've ever been offered a crackhead. I don't think I've ever been offered, you know what I mean?
Yeah, what about like a drug kingpin, a good-looking sit-back,
I'd love to. I always love to challenge myself and stretch. But again, we live in a place or in an industry where people, they label you, and then that's the roles you're gonna play. Mm-hmm. There's only a few actors who get to really, really showcase what they can do. And it's really up to us to change the narrative, right? It's up to us to say, okay, I'm gonna start producing, I'm gonna start directing and writing. And that's really also why I started doing all these other things. Mm-hmm. Because I wanted to take control of my own personal narrative, of my journey. A narrative is an interesting thing because as African Americans and all the work that we're doing in Africa, the reason why we started with Full Circle, what we did during Year of Return in Ghana, the reason we did this event and celebrating the Year of Return was because I wanted to build a bridge between African Americans and the continent. I wanted to combine these hugely powerful entities that we are in the diaspora and on the continent so we can start changing the narrative, that we can start changing perception around the Black experience, to normalize Blackness, not just in one arena, but everywhere. And that's why we brought 250 leaders in business, sports, and entertainment to Accra to celebrate, to visit all the historic sites, to have this very important dialogue between African Americans and people from the continent, because I believe that it's beneficial to us as African Americans to understand that our history didn't start 400 years ago. We're not descendants of slaves, we're descendants of the people who created vast civilizations and kingdoms and Because what it does, we talked about double consciousness earlier, what it does, it informs us with our connection to the source, to our ancestry, to our heritage. And it infuses us with parts of our identity. Again, after having been deprived and after our identities were stolen, our language was stolen, our customs were stolen from us. And I think it's very important that we forge that connection and that we understand where we came from, because only if you understand where we came from do we know where we're going.
By the way, I was supposed to inform y'all of this. I have forgotten. The pivot is going to Africa. We've been invited. He wants us to do. Yeah, he wants us to do a show there.
I want you guys to come with us to Ghana in March.
I'm signing us up. I'm down.
We do the pivot from Ghana.
Yeah, I'm definitely down.
It's gonna be great. We can do it. We can do it at. We can go to Cape Coast Castle, which is one of the 40 slave castles that are still on the coast of Ghana. I don't know if you guys ever been, but when you walk through these halls and these dungeons, it's such a visceral experience as a black person. Mm-hmm. You feel your ancestors. You feel the pain and the suffering that went on, and you understand immediately what it means to, like you said earlier, walk the world as a black person, and that we don't have a choice but to succeed. Because we come from literal superheroes. To go through all these things that our ancestors went through, to land here and to be here today, it means that, oh, okay, I don't have a choice but to thrive, because I come from superior genetics, and to be in that place, I don't want to tell you guys too much because you will feel it. Everybody we bring, they have this visceral physical experience when they go through that, and it changes them forever.
That's what Leon said.
Yeah.
Snowfall.
Yeah.
Leon, when he went to Ghana. Mm-hmm. Remember that?
Did you just bring up Damson Idris? I mean, best friend Leon.
Yeah. It changed him.
So we on Franklin Saint and Leon right now. Like on this show, we do talk about mental health a lot, right? It's a conversation we have. I don't necessarily know if we ever set out to be a place to have those conversations. And I think once you have one of those conversations in the way we did with Michael Beasley, people started coming to us understanding we were willing to create that space. Mm-hmm. We talk about therapy often, and I know this is very personal, and so you can answer this however you like, and if you don't want to, I respect that. What do you think is the biggest thing that therapy helped you unpack? Your singular therapy, individual therapy.
I started going to therapy, I think, when I was 12. My mother's a psychologist. She's a therapist. So thankfully, she saw the importance of us going to therapy because of the family dynamics and what it caused in us individually. So I went to therapy when I was 12, 13. And then again, intermittently throughout the years, and when we were married, when Nicole and I were married and we were diagnosed, when Sophie was born, the best thing we did was to say, okay, we're going to therapy, because the challenges you face as a parent, when you're faced with these severe health issues, it could break you apart very quickly, because each parent deals with trauma differently. Usually what happens is that the mother and the father, they sort of drift apart as they're processing and dealing with the trauma. And through therapy, we learned how to see each other, and it actually ended up bringing us closer together. For me individually, I learned how to process my relationship with my father, my abandonment, my disappointment, and everything I dealt with that was based in that relationship. My self-worth was directly connected with him not being there, and that I blamed myself. So my self-worth, my self-value was very low. And you tend to compensate for that in other ways. And some people choose drugs, and I had to make sure that I am completely aware and recognize that in me, so that I can then learn to heal and step into my full self. So that was the biggest impact that therapy had. For me, I became the man that I am today, because I learned to face all of those dark corners. And I'm continuously checking in with myself, right? I think it's very important. It's just like when people go to the dentist. If you don't go to the dentist for 5 years, there's gonna be some plaque, right? And it's the same, for me, it's the same with therapy. Or with a forum like this, because a forum like this can also double as therapy, because Black men deal with a lot. We have a lot on our shoulders in our communities. There's a lot of weight, there's a lot of resentment, frustration. We've been subjected to so much systemic bullshit. We're not like animals who have an instinct that helps them load shed. When an antelope runs away from a lion and it gets away, I don't know if you ever saw that, but the antelope will shake violently for 30 seconds. And that's the animal getting rid of trauma. And then they just move along like nothing happened. We don't do that as human beings. Our trauma is compounded in us over years and years and years and years and years. Some of us go and we find sports as an outlet, but a lot of people, a lot of Black men sit there in their trauma for decades, right? So these kind of forums are very important. And actually, you can duplicate that in your communities, right? And get together with your friends, 4 at a time. You go to dinner or whatever. You cook dinner at home and you invite 3 of your boys and you just fucking talk. That helps, because we find alliances in each other, and we also find comfort and support just by saying, hey, I need help. Can you help me with this? I need to talk about this. So again, I want to applaud you guys, because you really started this. I hope it's not a trend. I hope it's a movement that allows us as Black men to share and to be vulnerable and to help each other.
Just what we do.
Yeah, that's great.
People, the guests give us that range. But I want to ask you what we ask all our guests, your biggest pivot in life. That's a moment or moments that you can look back on and say, because of this, I am, who I am. And feel free, like RC say, to show off. Show people how intelligent you are. You can respond in one of those languages that you're fluent in.
Ja, kein Problem. Also was ich sagen könnte, ist, dass der Sport
I was just kidding.
hat für mich bestimmt was mitgebracht, was mir geholfen hat.
What?
I would say.
Wait, what? What was that?
Oh, my bad.
So it's German. What is it? German, French, some Spanish.
Yeah.
How many languages?
4.
In English.
Yeah, in English. Yeah.
Wow.
But that's what's funny, because people assume that I'm African American. The hardest part wasn't the language. The hardest part was to be able to act like an African American, because culturally, the physicality of African Americans is very different from anywhere else.
Mm-hmm.
You grow up in London, you're not going to move and talk like an American.
Right.
Same when growing up in Germany, it's very different. And that was the hardest part. I had to really study how to relate to each other, how to move. When you talk to each other, there's a certain, there's a certain swag that, that's very, very specific to African Americans.
I never thought of that.
And that was the hardest part. But I was told that I'm the only non-native English actor who has carved out a career here that allows me to play any characters. I didn't know that, because most non-English speaking actors end up playing those specific characters. Spanish, Spanish, like Selma Hayek plays these characters.
Always.
Or then you have the Brits or the Australians, but that's not a different language. It's different dialect. So that was the hardest part.
I never
for
thought
me.
about that, yeah.
Yeah, it was hard. So pivotal moment, I guess I've had a lot of pivotal moments in my life, I would say. One pivotal moment was going to acting class, I think, to learn how to speak English. Because it opened doors for me that I didn't even know existed. And it taught me about being open and being ready and being and embracing opportunities. That's what I would say.
You've modeled, right? And sometimes when you model, you know, we talked about the TLC outfit, you gotta not wear a shirt or whatever it is. How old are you now, Boris?
52.
52, right? So that's 20 years younger than Fred is, okay? So Fred went on this diet. He's been doing extremely well where he's working out, he stopped drinking, he doesn't eat carbs, all of these things. And you know, and so what I did was like, I looked on your social media, right? Because you and Fred are about the same age. And I was like, I wonder if when Boris works out, does he like post pictures on his story like flexing? And I was like, well, I don't see any of those pictures on Boris's stories. And I was like, I wonder when Boris is working out, does he raise his shirt up and have on shorts with like no tights or drawers so he could try to show his Usher old school V and stuff like that, you know? Because there's a person on this set, and I won't point to them individually, Boris, that recently, this weekend was doing this while working out in his Jacksonville Jaguars outfit because that's the team he played for 11 years and that drafted him 9th overall.
Wonder who that is.
But I don't really want to point to that person.
Yep.
What advice do you have to aspiring Instagram models like Fred?
You just say you weren't saying no names.
I'm sorry. Scratch that.
Okay. I didn't hear you. What I would say to that person is, do you?
That's what I'm talking about.
I would say, do you?
Because they
know what
think
I mean?
I'm doing Ozempic. I just had to let it be known. You feel me? I just had to let it be known.
Do you, man? I love it. Do you? You got to celebrate you.
Yeah,
You gotta celebrate you.
ESPN, the body is
Don't let
coming
them
back.
dim. Don't let them dim your light.
Right.
You do you. You pull up that shirt. You show those. What is it? V cuts.
Yeah,
whatever it is.
he was
D'Angelo.
like, he turned
D'Angelo.
Yeah,
Okay.
How does it feel? Well, I might have, but then he gonna turn to the side too. He was like,
Yep.
Oh yeah, you had to see the, you know.
hey,
Yeah, I'm working with it.
What they got to see?
I can go straight in the Zara now, off the rack.
Celebrate you.
I enjoyed seeing you on Real Husbands of Hollywood because I felt like it was fun and it was a different side of you. And you look at like the other people on there, like they're all like, that's who they are. And they get to show that often in the people that they portray or the way that they do their music or whatever it is. You didn't often get to do that.
Oh, no.
And in that space, I felt like you were able to release. And I was like, oh, dude, cool as hell. What was that experience like with you, with Kevin,
It was the
Nick,
best
and
time.
them?
And we're trying to get it together for a movie. It's so hard with everybody having these different schedules, but that was one of the best times I've ever had. Because those are my people, those are my friends. Like, we're real friends. So to be able to cut up like that and make fun of each other and make fun of the genre too, right? Reality TV is such a huge thing.
Yeah.
And to be able to do a spoof version of that and really take it up 10 notches, it was the most fun I've ever had. Plus, you don't stop laughing.
Yeah.
I mean, you literally from beginning to end every single day it's just hilarity all day long. And they're idiots. Kevin is an idiot. Kevin is an idiot. And you know who's even funnier and who's the funniest person walking the earth is JB.
Yes.
JB Smooth. He makes you pee on yourself. Literally. Like, because he never stops. We would have a take and he goes off script. Everybody goes off script, but he goes off script. So far, the takes will be 5 minutes long before they yell cut because he always adds something. And he's the only guy who makes Kevin break character. Kevin cannot keep a straight face when JB's in the scene. Like, sometimes he had to look another way because JB is such a fool. We did a scene, it was me, Cedric the Entertainer. Was Kevin in it? Yeah, and JB, and it was called the Cinnamon Challenge. You can look it up on YouTube. And he had to eat a spoon full of cinnamon. And I don't know if you ever tried to do that.
It's hard.
He almost died.
JB did?
JB almost died, but he went off. He went crazy. He walked into the pool. He and everybody else was on the floor. It was the funniest thing I ever would. Look it up on YouTube. It's a cinnamon challenge on Real Husbands. It's the best time I ever had, and I hope that we can get it together. And because it'd be fun to do a couple of movies with that crew, you know, like a Hangover type movie.
Oh,
I know
that'd be
we
funny as hell.
got 2 scripts already, so hopefully we'll get it together. I'd love to do that.
Hey, well, you heard it. They got 2 scripts already. We would love to see that. Man, thank you. You know, I think.
Thank you.
You know, I told you how uncomfortable I was, you know, that night. And just you walking up to me and making me feel like I belonged and putting me in a place at ease where I was like, oh, wait, I can actually have these conversations and move in this world. And I fit. That meant a lot to me.
Absolutely.
And that's why I wanted to make sure we got you on the show.
Well, I appreciate you guys. Really, it meant a lot to be invited. I'm honored to be here. And again, you don't know how much this means now. You might know in 10 years from now, because you really, not just uplifting the community and the culture, but you've given us a space where we can come together authentically and unapologetically. And most important thing is that we're able to ask for help. And we have to learn how to do that. And you guys have taken the first step, and it's very important. Thank you guys so much.
Man, appreciate y'all. Yes, sir. Shan, he's definitely more attractive to you.
Yeah, you got me. I can see. I couldn't say it on there though. I gotta keep my swag.
And you short as shit.
The
right
way
now.
you tied it into the shirt, though, you stupid, dog.
See, that's being him at the mailbox.
Boy, you stupid.